They said, given how actively the Lively parties have publicized and litigated Ms. Lively's claims in the media, we are surprised to now learn how vehemently she wants to prevent the public from accessing material and relevant evidence.
The times where people ignore the red flags and say, let's just keep pushing, those are the times where you fail. The majority of things that we're buying are created by men. You always learn more from your failures than you do your successes.
Ryan Reynolds, ever the comedian, tried to diffuse the situation with humor. But his jokes fell flat, and some felt he was trivializing a serious issue. Hollywood began to distance itself. Directors, studios, even friends. Blake and Ryan were becoming radioactive. In an attempt to salvage the situation, Ryan Reynolds, known for his witty and self-deprecating humor, stepped into the fray. However, his attempts to make light of the controversy on platforms like Saturday Night Live backfired spectacularly. Viewers, perceiving the situation as serious and concerning, found his jokes to be insensitive and dismissive, further damaging public perception of both him and Blake. The misstep highlighted a critical misjudgment of the public mood, demonstrating a disconnect from the gravity of the accusations and the growing anger directed at Blake Lively. The fallout extended beyond public opinion. Hollywood itself began to react. Directors and studios, wary of controversy and potential PR disasters, reportedly became hesitant to work with Blake Lively. Rumors circulated of projects being put on hold and deals being dropped. Even some of her closest industry friends were said to be distancing themselves, fearing guilt by association and the potential damage to their own careers. The once untouchable power couple was now facing a cold shoulder from the very industry that had once embraced them.
Person who wrote to me said that they worked on the set of It Ends With Us, okay? And that the villain in this entire story is not Blake Lively, it's not Justin Baldoni, but it is Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan started the fire!
Allegedly. Don't gag order or sue me, Ryan Reynolds, okay? I don't want to be involved in all the drama. I'm just telling my audience what I was told. He goes into Blake Lively's trailer and they have an argument. All of the production assistants overheard the argument.
Desperate to regain control, Blake allegedly accused Justin of inappropriate behavior. But when he presented evidence, her story began to crumble. Critics drew stark comparisons to Amber Heard, suggesting she was attempting to manipulate the Me Too movement for personal gain. Trust in Blake Lively was evaporating. In a move that many saw as a calculated attempt to regain public sympathy and shift blame, accusations surfaced against Justin Baldoni. However, this strategy quickly unraveled as Baldoni and his legal team presented a robust defense, including text messages and other evidence that directly contradicted Lively's claims. The inconsistencies in her narrative became glaringly apparent, and the public, increasingly skeptical, began to question her motives. The comparisons to the highly publicized Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial became unavoidable, with many observers noting striking similarities in the tactics employed. The accusation of weaponizing the #MeToo movement for personal gain resonated deeply, sparking outrage and further eroding public trust in Blake Lively's carefully crafted image. What was once admiration transformed into accusations of dishonesty and manipulation, and the once golden girl of Hollywood was now facing a PR nightmare of epic proportions.
Justin says that Blake was determined to make him the real-life villain in her story because she wasn't doing well on the promo tour for the movie. It was very tone-deaf. Her hair care line wasn't doing well. She was trying to sell booze while talking about domestic violence. Justin says the war between himself and Blake really started in May 2023 when they started shooting the movie. He claims that she was organizing a takeover strategy.
Then came the image that changed everything. The Hollywood Reporter cover. Blake Lively, wielding a slingshot, aimed directly at Justin Baldoni. The symbolism was brutal, and the public reacted instantly. Her attempts to deflect criticism as sexist were met with ridicule. The tide had turned. This single image, intended perhaps as a playful promotional shot, backfired spectacularly. Instead of generating buzz for the film, it ignited a firestorm of controversy. The public, already primed by the growing rumors of on-set tension, interpreted the image as a blatant display of aggression and hostility towards her co-star, Justin Baldoni. Accusations of bullying and But behind the smiles and red carpet appearances, whispers began to emerge from the set of "It Ends With Us." Insiders spoke of a different Blake Lively, one who allegedly demanded control, overruled the director, and created a climate of fear on set. The cracks in the facade were starting to show. Rumors began to circulate among industry insiders, whispers of unprofessional behavior and a controlling nature that clashed sharply with her carefully curated public image. Sources close to the production spoke of script changes demanded at the last minute, directorial decisions disregarded, and a general atmosphere of unease and intimidation on set. It was said that those who dared to disagree with her faced potential career repercussions, creating a power dynamic that stifled creativity and fostered resentment. These accounts, initially confined to industry circles, began to leak out, planting seeds of doubt in the minds of those who had previously only seen the polished public persona. The whispers grew louder, hinting at a darker side to the beloved actress, a side that was about to be thrust into the harsh glare of the public spotlight.
He told us that Justin Baldoni claims she tried to take over his movie because she has a history of saying, okay, I'll be the star, but what I secretly want to do is direct it and edit it and produce it. I want all the roles for me and only me. I want full control because I am a controlling bully. That Justin Baldoni, ultimately, by the time they got to the premiere, was mandated by Blake Lively to spend the night in the basement away from his co-stars and didn't even get to see the final cut of his own movie because Blake Lively insisted that she be the one to approve it.
Before the storm, Blake Lively was adored. Fans loved her style, her marriage to Ryan Reynolds, her seemingly down-to-earth personality. She was the golden girl of Hollywood, or so it seemed. Her public appearances were always met with enthusiasm, her interviews charming and relatable. She cultivated an image of warmth and approachability, a stark contrast to the often perceived aloofness of other A-list celebrities. This carefully constructed persona solidified her place as a fan favorite and a media darling. She graced magazine covers, landed lucrative endorsements, and built a massive social media following, all contributing to the perception of an actress who could do no wrong. This unwavering positive image was her shield, protecting her from scrutiny and solidifying her position at the top of the Hollywood hierarchy. However, even the most meticulously built facades can begin to crack under pressure, and for Blake Lively, that pressure was about to mount.
I defend Justin Baldoni in this lawsuit with Blake Lively because I think she's horrible and she's made up this whole thing because she tried to steal his movie. But he is the most overly feminized man I've had to endure in recent history. Everything he says is self-flagellating over the fact that he's a man. But he's, to me, is sort of the embodiment of what happens when you totally emasculate a man. And then she continued, she took that stiletto and stuck it in his heart when he was down there self-flagellating, being so sorry for anything having to do with his testosterone.
For years, Blake Lively was the darling of Hollywood, the actress everyone loved to love. But behind the dazzling smile and seemingly perfect life, a different story was brewing, one that would shatter her golden image and expose a side of her nobody expected. She was seemingly untouchable, a fashion icon, a charming wife to Ryan Reynolds, and a successful actress in her own right. From Gossip Girl to blockbuster films, she had it all. The public adored her, the media praised her, and her career trajectory seemed limitless. Social media was flooded with admiration for her style, her family, and her seemingly effortless grace. Blake Lively was the epitome of Hollywood perfection, a carefully crafted image that resonated deeply with fans worldwide. But beneath the surface of this flawless exterior, whispers of a different reality were beginning to circulate, hinting at a hidden persona that would soon send shockwaves through the entertainment industry and beyond.
Was what Blake says, a conversation that she heard had taken place with Steve Sarowitz. Steve Sarowitz is the head of Wayfair Studios. He is the co-founder of Wayfair Studios, along with Justin. And she says in this lawsuit that, is it interesting? She says, this is what I heard, he said, but it's presented as a quote in the lawsuit. She says that Steve said, I will protect the studio like Israel protected itself from Hamas.
Ryan Reynolds, the undisputed king of witty charm and self-deprecating humor, attempted to deploy his usual PR weapon, laughter. He tried to diffuse the escalating scandal with jokes, lighthearted comments seemingly designed to minimize the seriousness of the accusations and deflect attention away from his wife's alleged behavior. But this wasn't a lighthearted rom-com premiere. This was a full-blown career-threatening scandal, and humor, in this context, landed with a resounding thud. The public, already deeply invested in the unfolding drama and increasingly convinced of the gravity of the accusations, found his attempts at levity not charming, but insensitive and deeply inappropriate. What was intended as damage control backfired spectacularly, further fueling the flames of public outrage. Suddenly, Ryan Reynolds, once Teflon-coated and universally beloved, was also facing collateral damage. His carefully crafted cool guy image, built on approachable humor and effortless charisma, began to tarnish by association. By publicly standing by Blake and seemingly dismissing the seriousness of the allegations, he risked alienating fans and damaging his own hard-won reputation. His attempts to rescue his wife's image ironically dragged his own down with it. Meanwhile, as Blake and Ryan stumbled and faltered in their PR response, Justin Baldoni adopted a completely different strategy. A strategy of quiet dignity and evidence-based defense that would ultimately solidify his position as the wronged party and further amplify Blake Lively's dramatic downfall.
Dear Judge Lyman, as counsel for Wayfarer Studios LLC, Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, Steve Sarowitz, It Ends With Us Movie LLC, Melissa Nathan, the Agency Group PR LLC, and Jennifer Abel, collectively the Wayfarer parties, we write to advise the court of an issue that the Wayfarer parties wish to address at the upcoming conference on Monday, February 3rd, 2025.
He and 9 other plaintiffs, including his publicists, have brought a $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times, essentially alleging them of libel and false light invasion of privacy. So Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, he told BBC's partner CBS that the newspaper aided and abetted a smear campaign designed to revitalise Lively's floundering.
While Blake and Ryan engaged in what many perceived as tone-deaf damage control, Justin Baldoni remained remarkably composed, a stark contrast that only served to highlight the perceived chaos surrounding his co-star. He didn't resort to public mudslinging, didn't engage in inflammatory social media posts, and didn't launch personal attacks. Instead, he adopted a strategy of quiet strength, allowing his lawyer to speak on his behalf and focusing on presenting factual evidence to counter the accusations against him. This measured, dignified approach resonated deeply with a public weary of celebrity histrionics and hungry for authenticity. Baldoni's calm demeanor, rooted in his Baha'i faith's emphasis on unity, kindness, and peaceful resolution, stood in stark and favorable contrast to the alleged actions attributed to Lively. The public, witnessing this stark contrast, lauded his maturity, his fairness, and his apparent integrity. In the court of public opinion, Justin Baldoni was increasingly cast as the victim, the wronged party, the anti-bully hero who had weathered a storm of accusations with grace and composure. This narrative solidified as Blake Lively's public image continued its precipitous decline, transforming her from golden girl to Hollywood pariah.
Asking for the gag order and explaining how he's talking too much, he's threatening to post stuff on public sites. So what I think is, this looks good for Baldoni, right? He's like, we want to make it all public. And sometimes lawyers can do this knowing that they can't actually do what they say they're going to do.
That she became uncomfortable with Justin Baldoni yesterday while she was filming. She states that Mr. Baldoni put his bare hands on her backside and said that he was trying to help her with her posture. Complainant immediately voiced her displeasure with being touched on an intimate part of her body, and Mr. Baldoni responded with, "It's fine. I'm totally hot for my wife," in a dismissive tone.
Justin Baldoni's attorneys got back regarding that filing, and they basically called them out, as they always do. And I'm going to show you what they said. They said, given how actively the Lively parties have publicized and litigated Ms. Lively's claims in the media, we are surprised to now learn how vehemently she wants to prevent the public from accessing material and relevant evidence.
From the dizzying heights of Hollywood adoration to the precarious precipice of career collapse, the downfall of Blake Lively has been a shocking and swift descent. Once lauded as a fashion icon, a charming actress, and half of Hollywood's power couple, she now faces a public that feels deeply betrayed and an industry hesitant to embrace the perceived baggage of scandal and controversy. Can Blake Lively ever truly recover from this self-inflicted PR catastrophe? Can she rebuild the trust she has seemingly squandered and reclaim her place in the Hollywood firmament? Or is this, tragically, the end of the road for one of Hollywood's brightest stars? The answer, shrouded in uncertainty and dependent on her future actions, remains to be seen. But one thing is clear. The golden glow that once surrounded Blake Lively has been irrevocably tarnished, replaced by the harsh glare of public scrutiny and the chilling winds of professional uncertainty. What do you think? Has Blake Lively's career reached a point of no return? Let us know your thoughts and theories in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth explorations of the shocking stories behind the celebrity headlines. We'll continue to follow this developing story, bringing you the latest updates and analyses as they emerge.